we're good. Okay, you ready? Hi, I'm Sharmika Spencer, and I am an educator for Wella, and I am here on behalf of Marlo Beauty Supply and Salon 6. I would like to thank Salon 6, Marlo Beauty Supply, and Nicole for giving me the opportunity to share some techniques that I would like to show with Wella Color Charm Paints, which is our newest thing with Wella. So over here we have Wella Color Charm Paints, which is a new color, semi-permanent color line that can either be used alone or intermixable. We have 14 shades with a clear pastelizer. We have colors ranging from yellow all the way going from orange and down to purple, fuchsia, mint, light blue, teal, green, and blue. They can be all used together or alone, as well, different seasons, however you want to play these colors as professionals. We all know we get bored sometimes and we want to be creative and innovative and to just kind of let go. And then you also have conservative clients that comes in and they're like, I want something funky, but I also want to stay conservative with my job. As well, so we'll talk about the two techniques that's using to get these colors. We have to do a blending technique, which we will use the developer and the Wella powder as well. So it's the Wella powder lightener and a developer 20 volume, and you can also use it with 40 volume as well. So let's start with the first technique, which is the blending technique. And the blending technique consists of two techniques with the blending techniques. We have the Balayage and also the Peekaboo shade that's in the back. So the left side have already been done, just to give you an idea of what I mean with the balayage. Just simple balayage techniques that would give you color, framing the face. Something simple to use. And as a professional stylist, you already know it's up to your discretion how you want to place it based on what your client needs. Then we have the Peekaboo, which is in the back. Accent, I did it on one side because we have sections 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this side is just shown because I'm going to show you how to do it using foils. So I will put on my gloves because you want to protect yourself, because like we said before, in order to use the Wella Color Charm Paints, if your hair is already a brunette color, you do have to use a pre-lightener to lift that color. That's why the lightener is used and the developer is used. So we're going to start with mixing the pre-lightening formula. So over here, it is important to use a scale using Wella products because you want to make sure you have the right ratio mix. With Wella products, even if you're using a powder lightener or a liquid color, it's normally 1-to-2 ratio. So that's why a scale is important. We have the powder lightener already mixed in the bowl. So when you place on here, you always want to go with ounces. So we have 2 scoops, which will give you 2 ounces. So we're going to add the developer. Now, as a professional, you already know I'm going by the units as far as what's there, but as a professional, you always want to know as far as the appropriate amount that you need to give. Is if you want the consistency to be thick, use less developer. If you want it to be thin, use more, okay? So I'm using the 40 volume. The difference between the 20 volume and the 40 volume, 20 volume lifts you up to 2 shades. Now, we already know the Wella powder lightener lifts up to 7 shades. With 20 volume, depending on the color of the level of your client's hair, if this is a level, I would say a level 5, 6. So it's important to get the hair level up to a level 10 so the Wella Color Charm paints can definitely can definitely absorb into the hair, can penetrate into the hair. The vivid your hair, as far as the lightening, if your hair is light enough, the vivid your hair color would be, okay, with the semi-permanent Wella Color Charm paints. All right, I like to use the whisk to mix the color, to mix the pre-lightening formula, because you want it to mix evenly. Instead of taking your brush to mix it in, sometimes the brush will pick up the color or pick up the formula that you're using, and you're wasting product. It's not mixing evenly. Okay, so we're whisking it around. All right, so let's get ready. I'm gonna push this to the side, and we're gonna use the brush. All right, so let's get ready. We're gonna start with the accent in the back. Okay, being that the left side is already down, which is section 3. This is section 4 because we have 2 and 4 on this side. So we want to start with the bottom. Even though it's just a small part, let me explain the sectioning. The sectioning in the back is a small upside down V, and the top of the V is under the occipital bone, okay? You want to have a little small area because it's a peekaboo area. Most peekaboos are hidden because it's when you wear a ponytail, you see the colors. If you wear it down, you see another color. It kind of gives you like a day and night look, if you can think of it that way. So daytime, conservative; nighttime, funky. So this is how I can best describe this. So to have even saturation, you want to pin that upward. Have your foils pre-cut. And the thing with this powder lightener, it can be processed as far as applied on and off the scalp. Okay? You want to dip your brush into the bowl and spread it evenly into the scalp. From the scalp to in the middle of the hair shaft on down to the ends.
Is there a difference between using a whisk versus a brush, Nicole asked?
Yes. For those who are just tuning in, we do have some questions that are being asked. Those who are tuning in, we're talking about the Wella Color Charm paints. And in order to, it's a double process when using the paints. So right now we're doing the blending technique. And a question that was asked, is it a difference with mixing the colors with a whisk or a brush? Yes, it is. Sometimes the whisk gives you the opportunity to mix the color or the formula even. It gives you more of an even result. It takes away the bumps or lumps that are in the product. So if you think about, I like to take another piece of foil and apply that. But if you're thinking about making a cake, you want to get, sometimes when you're cooking or baking or doing a mixture, you want to make sure the product or the formula that you're mixing is even. Okay? So that's the same thing. If you mix the formula with the brush, sometimes with the brush with the bristles, the formula will get inside and it's not mixing properly. So that's the difference. Okay, so we're going to take another section in the back. And get another foil. Just gonna place this one over here. Sorry about that. And the reason why I'm using multiple foils is because I want to make sure I have the pre-lightening formula evenly to the hair and not leaving any holes while I'm applying the hair. Applying the formula, I'm sorry. So another question someone may ask, okay, well, since it's a small section, just go ahead and apply it. I like to take each step seriously because you're doing this to a client, so you want to make sure, like since this little piece is small, it's easy for me to just go ahead and lay that down. So you can do that, but if the section is big, just take your time and apply the color to the scalp because you want to make sure that you have even lightening in this area back here. Okay, and it's okay to use this lightener like I've said before on the scalp because you can use this powder lightener on and off the scalp. Okay, so we're going to take another foil and place it on top, covering that section, and make sure you have enough foil to cover the ends, okay? Alright, so that takes care of the back part. So now we're going to move over to the balayage, okay? So the balayage, the good thing about using the balayage technique is because it's free form, and I like to use a rat tail comb, and this helps as far as piecing because the balayage is used to frame the face. So it's up to your discretion as a professional stylist, and of course what your client wants, to see how you want to create that balayage. That's the beauty of using that technique. We want to give some hidden colors, but also something that'll frame her face. So we're gonna start, we section the top part off, and we have a diagonal part that's dipping towards the back. So I like to start in the middle. So I take a little section. We're not doing any weaving techniques, and we're just grabbing a little piece of hair. And I do want to create thin pieces of hair to create a nice little balayage. So what I like to do, I place the hair over my hand, and if I can see through it, that's great enough for me. But it is to your discretion. If you want chunk of pieces, then you will take a big piece and place it, and if it's thick enough for you, that would be fine. But I want to take a thin piece, okay?
Sharmika, Nicole asks, how does your application differ when you do highlighting versus balayage?
Okay, the difference, the question that stated, how does it differ between doing balayage and highlights? The major difference is that with balayage, it's free form, and I'm getting ready to show you a swifting technique with balayage that you could do if you want, like I said, I want thin pieces. So the difference would be it's free form, and I can apply it pick pieces. I don't have, if you're doing a highlighting section, your sections may be different, and you do have the weaving technique, and then you have just a straight across as far as technique that you would use. However, I am using foil with the balayage technique because we want to separate the colors. I want to keep them consistent from a professional standpoint is when we apply the color paints. Okay, so I would take my brush, put a little bit on the brush, and I'm going to take swift sections down. Okay? Because we just want to softly frame her face with some of the paint colors. But notice how I don't want to leave a demarcation line at the top, so I'm just swifting it down, okay? And I'm taking another piece of foil, putting it on top, and I'm folding it in. Okay, I will do another section here. Same thing, same technique. And we're gonna swift it down.
Checking at the beginning. What lightener is being used?
So the lightener that's being used, another question, what lightener is being used is Wella Powder Lightener, along with the Wella Developer 40 volume. Okay, and the last important step, any hair that's near the hairline is kind of like your most fragile hair, so you want to let that piece be the last piece that you're going to pre-lighten. Just take a thin section, because anywhere around the hairline in the front, it seems like it really penetrates, it activates faster, okay? So let that one be the last. And as you're applying the lightener to the hair, just do it away from the face so it won't get in your client's face.
Jeremy, is the 40 volumes safe for the scalp?
Yes. Yes. Developers are pretty much safe. They can go on and off the scalp. The 40, because it's a higher volume, it doesn't mean that because it's a higher volume that it will be more harmful to your hair. It's just letting you know the levels that it's going to. So a 20 volume lifts up to 2 levels and 40 lifts up to 4. Okay? Alrighty, so we have 3 balayage that's processing on this side. And what you can do to get it away from the face, just put a clip on the side. So this is the first process with the balayage technique. So we're going to go ahead and get ready for the second process, which is the Wella Color Charm Paints. So the Wella Color Charm Paints, like I said, you have to pre-lighten the hair first, and we're using the California Sunset. These colors are beautiful. It's like sunset, right? We have mauve, light pink, orange, yellow, the clear pastelizer, and the fuchsia. Now, let's talk about 2 things. The clear, even though it says clear, it's a semi-permanent, the thing about that is the clear is the pastelizer. That's what gives you, for instance, let's take this fuchsia. If you put on the fuchsia by itself, it's going to give you that exact color. But if you add the clear to it, you're pastelizing the color, and it's going to give you a light fuchsia, depending on how much clear pastelizer you're going to use. Now, the paint tube looks like this. Very simple, right? Okay? This is the beauty of it. You don't have to use a scale to figure out the ratios, okay? These can be used by itself or intermixable with the other colors. Now it has the ounces that you're going to use. So if you use 1 ounce, it lets you know how much color that you're going to use. Now with the pastelizer, if you want to give it a 50% pastel, you know you would need half of that. Or if you use 1 ounce, 1 ounce of the pastelizer, and you will put it in the same bowl with the color that you desire to use. So, like I said before, these are the colors we're using. Don't they look beautiful? The color is rich. You can see the conditioning agents in there now. I mean, it's like wet like a pudding. Very nice. So we have yellow, orange, mauve, and we have light pink, and then we have fuchsia. Now remember what I said about that clear. That clear is used to give it the pastelization. And I'm going to show you how we mix it together to create an actual color. So you have your variations of colors that someone may want to experiment with. Okay? So we're going to start with the left side with this mannequin. As you see, we have finished the blending technique. So for those who have just tuned in, I want to say this is the actual finished mannequin of the blending technique of using the balayage and the peekaboo accent, which is in the back. Okay? This is the finished technique. Just to kind of go over that before I apply the Wella paints, we section off the crown, because when you bring the hair down, your highlights, your balayage, gonna frame the face. Okay, it's underneath, and then we just have the accent color in the back, because when you bring this portion down in the back, for those who want to the night and day look or day and night look, it looks one way when the hair is down, but of course when you bring the hair up, you have the California sunset, which is in the back. So let's get busy and start
Sharmika, we have
working.
one question about
Yes.
processing. Somebody said 40 volume processes faster on bleach than 10 or 20. Do you have to move faster depending on the volume when using bleach that high? Is that correct?
Okay, so it's two parts to that question, two answers towards that. Anytime you're using a powder lightener, you do have to move fast and quickly, regardless if you're using 20 volume or 40 volume. So, for instance, the 20 volume lift up for 2 shades, 2 levels, and the 40 volume lifts up to 4 levels. So the 10 volume is only used to deposit color. Okay, that's when you're talking about permanent hair coloring. And most of the time, if your hair is light and you want to darken it a little bit, you will use the 10 volume. Now, the answer to that question, which the question is, if I'm understanding it correctly, is will the 40 volume, because it's a higher number, do you have to move faster than if you were using a 20 volume? The answer is no, because it's still the same processing time. Just be aware that you will have a lighter result as far as using a 40 volume, because it's lifting with up to 4 levels. But make sure that you're paying close attention anytime you're using a pre-lightener powder, because yes, that's the purpose of using a pre-lightener, is to quickly change the color. So make sure you're watching it closely. Okay, so now we're going to apply the different colors. So I'm going to you make sure when you apply, have the color set up for the semi-permanent. You have a brush in each bowl. Okay, so we're just going to do some free form color. Okay. So I want to start, this is around her face. And so I want to start with the light pink. The thing about this, it's very easy to apply. It doesn't smell, so you apply this and you will let this color stay on for 20 minutes. You see how easy it goes on? It's like a conditioner. It doesn't even look like color. It just looks yummy at the same time, right? So you just apply it, and it's gonna penetrate. Now, with the semi-permanent color, I don't know if someone may be thinking, well, should I process this with heat? in comparison with other colors, like jazzing. Jazzing, if you apply the semi-permanents, you sit under the dryer. Well, it becomes a temporary color when you apply jazzing. With heat added, it's a semi-permanent. So with this color, you don't need any heat. You would let it process at room temperature for 20 minutes. Okay. So, and the beauty about this color, you can change this anytime, okay? Now, the length of blending processing can last between 6 to a year, 6 months to a year. Now, with the semi-permanent color, just know, when you rinse this out, do not shampoo. Your hair have already been processed and shampooed and shampooed. Not blow dried, but shampooed. Damp hair, you would apply this on damp hair. Okay? And like I was saying before, the beauty of the semi-permanent, you can switch it up. In 2 weeks, you might be like, okay, I want to add some green. Because you can intermix these colors. Say you don't want to have light pink and yellow on the side. You want to go with the blue and a green look. Yeah, go ahead and put it on top. That's the beauty of it.
Sharmika, how often should my clients maintain the color?
Okay. The question, someone just asked, how often should my clients maintain the color? If you're starting to see that if you're talking about the semi-permanent color, if you're starting to see that it's fading, when you come in, if you're a bi-weekly client, I would say you can get it every 4 weeks or every 2 weeks. Okay, because it's up to you. If you're a bi-weekly client, if you're a weekly client, I would say just reapply every 2 weeks. If you're bi-weekly, every 4 weeks. Okay, because note, when it's a semi-permanent, and it will, when you shampoo, it will fade, but it won't damage your hair when you apply. It's very fun. Just think of this as you the artist. As long as your hair is pre-lightened and it's pre-lightened light enough where the color is vivid. That's where you're trying, that's your goal. So as a professional, you want to make sure that you get your hair to a level 10, okay? 11, 10, 12 to make the colors vivid, okay? And with your clients, just let them know you can experiment with different colors as well, but every time you shampoo, a little does come out, like a semi-permanent, but it won't stain any of your clothes or stain your scalp, and it will not damage your hair. So that's the beauty of it. All right, so we did the balayage on this side. I want to show you how we do the peekaboo side. So in the back, we're going to do a variation of different colors. I want to use the pastel color just to show you. And since it's a small amount, we're going to take a little small section. Okay? And get your foil. And the thing about it, like I said, it will not stain your scalp or your hair, stain your scalp or your hairline. But of course, you know, at the beginning, you can always apply a protective cream around the base of the hair, just so, but you know, it will not stain, okay? So we're gonna mix the pastelization and that fuchsia together, just so I can show you what it looks like, okay?
When you mentioned 2 weeks, Becky wants to know, is that the life of the color before it fades?
Okay, a good question. The life of the color when it fades every time you shampoo. It may get just a little may come out, just a little bit. It's not that it fades like a permanent hair color. You know, if you put a permanent hair color, sometimes it looks dusty. The color will be there. It might be less of that color, if that makes sense. So you may want to just reapply to make it more vivid. But it's up to your discretion as a stylist to know, you know, you would tell your clients. For instance, I have a client and she's a weekly client and she uses the color green. So she came back the next week and we shampooed her hair, and then of course you can use shampoo and conditioner products that you will order from Marlo Beauty Supply that can protect your color to make them stay in longer. Okay?
And do you have to use foil with this color?
And you don't have to use foil, but I'm placing the foil if you can separate it, because the thing with the reason why I'm using foil is to show you that some clients may not want the color to, because they're intermixable. Yes, I would say use the foil unless they don't mind the color to mix, because it will give you a different color or a different technique. But because we're using the California Sunset technique, we want to see the colors, want to see separation of the colors. Okay? But you don't need the foil to help process the color, if that's the question. If that answers your question. So I'm using the foils because I want to separate that pastelization and fuchsia, because I want to, here I would like to put in mauve. I want to use mauve. See, so that's where the difference. So you do have to use that. Now, if you wanted to mix these two together to give you a color, that's the beauty of these. Feel free to mix. It's like painting. You're creating your own vision board, if that makes sense. So this is the last one before I show you my final result. So if there are any other questions before we bring Nicole out to show you.
Where do you get your inspiration for fashion colors from?
Oh, wow. Okay, so when you think about painting and these colors, I get my inspiration through seasons, and whenever it's like now we're in spring. We just got into spring, right? So, and I get my inspiration through like, what's the latest trend, or what do I feel like? So in regards to the Wella Color Charm Paints, you have them right here. So now I'm feeling like wintertime, I was feeling the blue, the greens. Now I'm feeling more of the yellows, the orange, the bright colors, just colors. How do you place them? And that's where my inspiration. So I get my inspiration through seasons, what's trending right now, how do I feel? That's where my inspiration is coming from. Okay, so the next step we would do quickly before we bring out, and that's why I want to tell you, just go for what you know. This color gives you the benefit of going for what you know. What do you feel like? You know, as a stylist, we always, it just pops in our mind. Like, we go from dark to light. We go from shortcuts to long hair. We have it all in the palms of our hands. So I'm placing yellow. So this is where my inspiration is coming from. Just by doing creative, innovative ways of bringing new ideas. Okay? Alrighty. Okay, so this is the accent. So I'm going to show you our model as far as the final result to show you why we did these techniques and the inspiration where it comes from. So like I said before, Wella Color Charm Paints allows you to express yourself for the elevated customer who wants to do, ranges from someone that's conservative to highly fashionable, or to someone that wants to make a statement. It goes from one extreme to the next. We have now we have Nicole that's here, and Nicole actually works for Marlo Beauty, and she's our beautiful model for today. So some of you all may have talked to her before, and this is who she is. And even though she has long, beautiful hair, so she has a conservative job, but also she has color. So this is where we did the balayage technique. And even though we pulled some from the top, remember the technique that we had? We had a piece at the top, but we had underneath the balayage technique that we use different colors. Colors are beautiful. So however she wears it, to the side, see how it's just a light color in between her hair, is so soft and beautiful. Or if she wears it up, so when she get off work, after she's taken your orders and everything, when she get off work, she may gonna go for a night on the town, put on her clothes, put her hair in a ponytail, and there's the California sunset at the bottom. See, that's where we did, I showed you the technique for doing the peekaboo with the mauve, the pastelization of the fuchsia, orange, the yellow, those colors. And she have purple in her hair, right? You see it? You see how they all come together? And this is the section that we did. Remember the upside down V? And we did use the foil, but you don't have to use the foil because you can intermix the colors, okay? But we use the foil to separate because for processing, again, when she goes to her stylist would know exactly what piece where in case you want to get this again. If not, it's completely okay. You can still intermix the colors. Just whatever you have in your formula, that's the beauty of it again. You can customize your own color as a professional stylist for your clients. And your clients will love you. All right. So we want to recap everything that we've done today. 2 techniques represent the Wella Color Charm Paints. We've used the blending techniques, which is the balayage technique, and we use the peekaboo accent in the back of the hair under the occipital bone. Okay, we use the Wella lightener to pre-lighten with the 40 volume Wella developer, cream developer, and the Wella Color Charm Paints. We use mauve, light pink, yellow, orange, the clear pastelizer, and the fuchsia.
And Sharmika, can you talk a little bit about the clear as well?
Yes. So a little bit more about the clear pastelizer. It's best to use that as a pastelizer. That's what it's used for. So it's used, if you use it again with if you want a light pastel color, use a greater percentage of that. So if you use 2 ounces of the Wella Color Paints clear pastelizer and you use 1 ounce of the red it would pastelize that red color, give you a light red, okay? If you use half and half with the color, just give you even distribution, meaning that it'll be pastelized but not to the highest of its pastelization. Okay, if you want just a little bit of the pastelizer clear, it's just gonna kind of knock the color that you have down just a little bit. It'll still be vivid, but it kind of gives you like a shade off. For instance, the red, it'll just kind of add a little bit of clear. It would give it just a little bit of pastel color. Okay. So thank you and have a great day.